forecast with Mid-Michigan's only live radar. Here's Chief Meteorologist Bryan Bachman.
All right, very good Wednesday evening, everyone. Our weather actually turning back a bit more toward the winter category tonight. We will be seeing some snow as the evening and overnight period goes on. Not necessarily dramatic totals, but nonetheless, temperatures also kind of following suit and overall seeing the weather behave a bit more like it should here in early February. But let's dive right in here tonight. We'll start you off with the first Warn 5 pinpoint Doppler radar. Live from MBS, and you do see plenty of snow already spreading in across southern Michigan, coming right up to about the I-69 corridor. But as we said time and time again over the last couple of days here, the problem right now is that this snow is in fact falling. It's definitely being detected on radar. It's just encountering a lot of dry air that's here at the surface and aloft. So a lot of these snowflakes are evaporating before they have a chance to reach the surface. They will eventually overcome that dry air later this evening and on into tomorrow. It's just going to take several hours, which is why we're expecting pretty light totals in terms of accumulation overall compared to what otherwise could have been, potentially a 4 to 5 inch snowfall amount in many parts of the area. Looking live over downtown Flint here tonight. Again, you kind of saw there on the radar, the snow was coming right up to about I-69, but you see none of it actually reaching the ground. It's dry, it's cloudy. Current temp is 30 degrees, wind chill is 22. But here's that dry air we're talking about. The relative humidity in the Flint area alone right now is at 59%. And it's not just here on the surface, as I mentioned. A lot of this dry air also exists aloft. And to get a window into that, we take a look at what's called an atmospheric sounding here. This is a vertical profile of the atmosphere taken by weather instruments, weather balloons, that are launched by the Weather Service every day. And you see this red line here, that indicates how the air temperature is changing as the instrument rises higher and higher through the atmosphere. And this green line here also indicates how the dew point changes. And when you see a big disparity here where the dew point line darts way out away from the air temperature, that essentially indicates a very dry pocket of air. It's very dramatic in this case over, say, the Saginaw area. Here's the MBS sounding for the current time frame at 6 p.m. We've got a lot of dry air that snow developing higher in the atmosphere has to first fall into. As those snowflakes evaporate into that layer, it gradually starts to saturate the layer. And then eventually when we get to that point, the snow can overcome the dry pocket that's there and reach the surface. Like I said, we have a much bigger battle to fight, a much more uphill battle to fight in terms of snowfall in the MBS area compared to, say, the Flint sounding. We do still see a dry pocket here, but notice it's not quite as big in magnitude. So the bottom line is that you in the Flint area and in the surrounding areas will tend to see the snow first. It's going to take a bit longer to saturate that air a bit farther to the north. Here's the big picture on the first Warn 5 sky tracker here tonight. High pressure to the north and west is trying to hold some of the snow at bay, but we've got our first push of it already sweeping in across the southern half of the state. An area of low pressure over the Gulf Coast has yet to approach as it heads on toward the north and east into tomorrow. So the hour-by-hour forecast, 8 o'clock on into midnight, we gradually see that snow trying to gather closer and closer to I-69. I do expect by about midnight, this is when you will start to see the snow falling in and around the I-69 corridor. Similar story as we head toward 4 a.m., snow continuing in an intermittent fashion in most of those areas. It's closer to about 8 o'clock in the morning for the Tri-Cities and the Northern Thumb, where we start to see the snow overcome that dry air that we mentioned. It will be reaching the ground and will continue in intermittent fashion through about midday and on into tomorrow afternoon. But notice you folks north and west of the bay, almost none of it reaching you. So our totals not changing all that much from what we had yesterday. 1 to 2 inches from Saginaw on to the south and east, maybe into parts of the Northern Thumb there as well, and then generally an inch or less farther off toward the north and west. As for tonight, 24, your overnight low with cloudy skies and snow developing late. That'll continue in intermittent fashion tomorrow with a high of 30, lingering snow showers left behind on Friday, and then some sun returns, David and Meg, but a cold start to the weekend, high of 28 on Saturday.